Hello everybody and welcome back to my Twitch TV channel. Where are we? Well, if you look outside, we are in the beautiful picturesque area of Nepal. And we are currently at Kathmandu International Airport, surrounded by mountains, inclement weather, one runway and us. So that's where we are. So what are we doing then? Well, we're checking out this beautiful aircraft, which is the Diamond DA-62. We're going from obviously Kathmandu to the world's most famous and hardest approach, which is which is Lucknow Airport, which is Tenzing and Hillary Airport in Lukla, which is where everyone goes to make their way to base camp when climbing Everest. The airport itself is 9,100 feet in altitude, and we've got to, using nothing but a hand-drawn image that I've done because I couldn't find any charts on Navigraph for the approach, not even for the final. So it's a pure visual approach, and I've then went into Navigraph with my handwritten chart and placed these points as a flight plan, exported it, saved it into Microsoft Flight Simulator, and that's what we're doing today. So I've already got a few switches in the aircraft ready to go. All we need to do is power up and get underway. We've got real world weather on. Not the real time though, so this would be the weather earlier today, as there's a massive time difference between ourselves in the UK and Lukla in the Nepal regions. So without further ado, let's do it. What could go wrong? So here we go. So we're jumping on inboard then, and we'll run through the startup and everything together. So track IR head tracker comes in. Okay, so I've done the switches that I need to already, so all I need to do is put the battery master on, wait for everything to settle down, position light can go on, let's put some panel lights on, let's get there. So you see we're taking the Ingress 1 Alpha from Kathmandu, from runway 20. Checking I've done everything correctly. Yeah, okay, so the first thing I want to do is come down to the displays. Okay, and the first thing I'm going to do is set the altitude I want to cruise at, which today is going to be 13,000 feet. I'm then going to set my nav to Kathmandu's VOR, and that comes up, and I'm also going to have that as a bearing on the left side of my display. Everything else is set the way I want it to. The transponder, we can put the code in before we get low volts. 2000 we'll just put in for ease. It wouldn't be in this region, but just for ease. Okay, and let's move across to our flight plan. So our flight plan is very simple, as you can imagine, and what we're going to do is just put some interesting things in. So I did find some online, but it was literally a photo of what they want to approach, and so this one is going to be 13,000 feet, and this is the initial approach fix, the IAF, or India Alpha Foxtrot. Okay, the next one is our MAPT, and that is quite simply our missed approach point. I'm going to enter that one. User 3 is a safety margin I've put on, and that is the highest terrain at that point of the turn for that particular waypoint that I hope is accurate is 9,500 feet, and because there's no approach into Lukla, I'm just going to put in here the runway elevation, The runway elevation is 9,100 feet. Okay, so that's all done. But the glide slope there is 3.5 degree pitch down from initial approach fix. So that's pretty important to know. So we enter that, and that is us done as far as we can with the flight plan anyway. Let's jump back up, and as you can see now, we've got a low volts warded, so let's go ahead and start the engines. We'll start left and right, and then we'll get out of here. So we've got our position on, so let's go ahead and start our left engine. Quite easy to start this aircraft. Obviously I've already put a few switches into position. Let's go ahead and start our right engine. And let's drop our pitot on. And at this stage we can put our taxi on. And we are ready to go. We're ready to rock and roll. So we're just going to literally swing round to our right and go out the taxiway. Now, I will put a video clip up on my YouTube channel. I have attempted this actual approach once. And if you want to know how that went, go onto my YouTube channel, which is Captain_Andy D, and you'll see my logo with the aircraft, the blue one. Subscribe, and you'll see what happened when I practiced this approach. I just hope it doesn't happen live on the stream, but that's the fun of it, isn't it? That's why we stream. Anything can happen. So anyway, I digress. So let's go. Takeoff trim is middle band, which is good. Parking brake is off. Altitude set. GPS is set on the nav. I might have to tell people what we're doing. Put that one on, and then our next frequency is going to be 120,150, and that is for Lukla. It's actually just a monitor Judicon frequency. There's no actual Pacific. There is a tower there, but they're really only there just literally to say congratulations, you landed, or clean up your bodies. As far as I can make out, there's no approach and no frequencies apart from this one is a what they call a Unicon frequency. So, Kathmandu ground. This is Ascot 1. Right turn on our apron and heading to runway 20 for the ingress 1 alpha departure. Just going to get we're literally just spinning the jet round. What this AI traffic does my head in, it always comes when I'm about to taxi. So let's go this way. Turning circle's pretty cack on this thing. So anyway, so how do we, all these figures for our takeoffs of the Diamond DA62? Well, there's plenty of YouTube tutorials on what to do, but if you want the honest answer, stroke could go on now, I will show you, because this is wrong, so I'll show you when we get there. They are very temperamental to the wind. I'm having to hold in quite a lot of right rudder, so it means we're going to have a little left crosswind on takeoff. Okay, killing the throttles, just coming up to the old short point of the runway. Here we are. Let's hold short there. So we check the approach. Now I'm going to show you how easy it is to get your calculated speed. So first of all, have a look at your weight and balance page. So this will tell you how much you weigh. So we're over 2 ton. That's all we need on that part. Go back up, go into checklist. On the checklist you got normal takeoff. Click into there, above 99. So we rotate at 78, initial climb at 86. So how do we do that? Well, quite simply. Let's go down to our trim reference. Our glide is 100, but that doesn't need to be on. If we miss it at Lukla, we're dead anyway. Our rotate was 78 knots. That doesn't need to be on till the approach. And our climb out speed was 86. Now, we can do the approach while we're here as well, because we will be below that figure. So we've got a checklist and look at our landing, and it says here total weight up to, so we're going to be that, so 84 KIS is what we're looking for there, and we'll put that on later during the cruise. Okay, so that's all done. Off, on, off, on. You notice I'm not even bothering with the barrows. Why is that? Well, quite simply because we're at 9,100 feet the runway at the missed approach altitude anyway at 10,500. If I can't see the runway or there's issues, then obviously I'll abort at that point. You never abort on the run because you don't have time. Did I select my flaps for takeoff? I did now. So you're following the wider trail here, and all we're going to do is swing the aircraft round. That's what I can gather on this aircraft where my centre line would be. So I've actually not flew this one a great deal, and I didn't train in a twin. So okay, so that's pretty centered. Brakes on. So before we start, we're checking a few things here. Altitude set, trim is set for takeoff, flaps are set, and lights are good. And now we're going to just arm the takeoff mode of the aircraft, and that's by pressing your toga button, or you would go through it in your configuration through the autopilot, which is on the right panel, but the buttons are really small to see. On this one you've also got, when you're in climb, you've actually got a go around setting you can apply, and I didn't know that until well, go on my YouTube channel, you'll see. So here we go, full power, brakes off, fingers crossed we don't die. Okay, not as bad strong crosswind as I thought. 60. I'd slowly rotate up. Trying to just trim it out, gear up. Flaps up. Trim it, stay. Okay, now we're going to select GPS on the, which is our nav button, and that'll give us our roll. As we climb out of Kathmandu. What I do like about this aircraft is the hand flying of it. It's one of the better prop planes to hand fly, in my opinion. But then I don't fly many props. If you know me, you know I love my fighter jets. So what we're doing here is we're going around on the arc, so it's not a massive turn, so it's just a case of keeping the aircraft trimmed. What trim does, it for those of you who don't know aviation, trim manipulates the elevators to basically hold the nose of the aircraft up or down. And whilst you're climbing on different altitudes, obviously different trim settings will become apparent. Got quite a good climb here, and I forgot to set the local barra, so I'll do that now. Doesn't matter really, because the transition altitude is just now you could engage your autopilot way before this stage, but what's the fun in that? I suppose you could have a look around, but as I've already as Maverick would say, how did you get on the first time? Well, I definitely crashed. You come on my YouTube channel and subscribe. It's going to be on there after this stream. Obviously it's not going to be on there before the stream, because I want the good one for you guys to see. So with full power there, I mean, just going to intercept the next part of the loop, if you like. So all this is still hand flying, remember. Let's get some of that speed off in the turn. Obviously you're probably asking yourselves, why does he choose an RAF livery to fly to Lukla? Well, everyone flies in a Beechcraft, don't they? Or a little jet of their choosing. How many people out there have actually flew in with a Diamond DA62 that's affected so much by the weather and influence, and is really only a short distance transporter and training aircraft? And you can race it on twin piston categories, but I wouldn't advise that. I'd get a better twin piston. We're just watching that arc to my left. The haze there. Nepal is a beautiful area. I don't suppose anybody in the comments, if you're coming on the chat, has actually been to Lukla Airport and actually done this trip for real. Be interested to because I gauge it right, and it doesn't matter how you approach. Like I said, obviously you'll see the result on the video if you go on my YouTube channel, but is it that steep as a view when you're landing in the real aircraft? I would imagine it is. So I've took manual control there. I'm now going to switch over to autopilot to show you that autopilot will carry on up to that altitude.
Engaging autopilot.
So alt test comes on, basically it's a VNAV mode. It'll go up, it'll hold your headed, and it'll also bring in your altitude. And that'll allow me to speak to you 5 people who are taking the time to come and view me. I'd like to thank everybody who's followed me. I can't believe how many followers I've now got since I've only been streaming a couple of weeks. It's been a learning curve for me, but I've decided not to go on certain Facebook groups, because I've learned that some of it is a bit dodgy and you get harassed. But instead I just like to put content out there, and if you like it, you like it, and if you don't, well, you don't. You could always suggest to me, say, what would you like to do in aviation? I've got something cool coming up. Once I don't want to keep spinning my head, because although I'm facing the camera to talk to you fine people, I don't want to keep making you dizzy by looking. So what I'll do is I'll just keep an eye on the track, and then I'll take my head tracker off. Beautiful. And we're also going to slow that down. Okay, so yeah. So what is the flight about? Well, we've left Kathmandu, which is over our wing there. The RAF roundels, you gotta love them. And it's a whole mountainous region. So if we look to our left, there's mountains. We look to our right, more mountains. And way off in the distance over there somewhere is the biggest mountain, is Mount Everest. And just to put that into perspective, Mount Everest peak is where most common commercial airliners would fly at altitude of 29,000 feet high. So you have to have oxygen when you climb Mount Everest. You have to do it in stages. And to be fair, I love the I don't know if you've watched it, but Everest the film, about them actually doing it. So that's pretty cool. Okay, these pumps shouldn't be on, so we're going to switch them off. I don't know if you put them on for startup, but apparently I read somewhere that I think it was actually in that generic checklist that's in-flight sim, and it basically says that I think you don't have them on once the engine's running. And I would suggest then it's gravity fed. If that's the case, it's a gravity fed system to the aircraft. It is beautiful as studied. Even the views. For those of us that are never going to get to this region, Nepal and the surrounding areas, this is what people see when they're going to climb Everest. And the airport we took. The airport we left, actually, is where you would fly into. So Kathmandu is an international airport, and you would actually fly in there on an international flight if you was going to do the Everest climb, which is brilliant. One thing I would advise on this, keep an eye on your weather. There's some weather now coming over the top of Lucknow. That's our destination. And we've got some weather en route. So, you know, it is what it is. It's the Himalayas, if you like. So, yeah. But we're in a prop plane, and we're travelling at what, 143 knots airspeed for the Diamond DA up. On the upper limit of that cruise there, it's not quite in the middle. The middle will be 140 knots. That'll be optimum cruise for this aircraft. But we've only got an 86% load on both engines, which isn't too bad. The RPM is still good. It's still staying at 3,000 on each, so 2,300 RPM on each engine. The temperatures are in the green, the pressure's in the green. The cabin temps just in the green. Fuel temp is well in the green, and fuel quantity is good. So, here we are. Shall we see what it looks like from the external view? And you'll see also here that the aircraft just bounces up and down, and that's what it's doing. It's because the air fluctuation over the wings for your lift, the drag of the aircraft itself, the force of the aircraft travelling through the air. So the air is coming over the wing, but as it gets disrupted, you have that little bounce, and that's what turbulence is. I'm not going to go into the dynamics of thermal effects or turbulence, wind shear, downdrafts, microbursts, because this is a fun video. I do serious tutorial videos as well, but this is a fun video. That's why I stream on Twitch. It's fun, but it's also informative. It's very loud outside with the engines, but the sound of the engine I like on the DA62, and if we transverse around the aircraft, that engine noise changes. You hear the pitch change. So when you're travelling, that would be happening because the aircraft's constantly, you know, trimmed for one position or the other. But panic, let's break it down. We're just leaving Egros, which is our exit transition, and on the way to Kimti. Well, that's the last known official GPS fix is Kimti. From there, we have to make up our own rules to fly into Lupa. There is information on Google, but like I said, I've used a very crude drawing, sketched out. I've looked at what others have done. I've tried it and burnt, you know, and I've looked at the updated, if you like, maps that we have now to when I suppose this was originally out for maybe X-Plane, P3D, or even FSX. So a lot of things have changed. Obviously your magnetic shift, true to magnetic variance. So the track's slightly off. So what I've done is done corrections according to maps that I've found of the area. With there's a legend at the top of the map, and yeah, I've done that change. So hopefully we'll be all right. When the stream's finished, give me literally. Depends what happens if I can stop uncontrollably napping or not. But yeah, you'll have to check out my YouTube channel. I suppose it's going to be available about an hour after the stream, so whoever's watching, viewing, or you get first laughs at it. I'm a bit concerned how dark it's getting. You don't want to be going into Lugna in the Valley of the Shadow of Death. Thou'st when I fly in the Valley of the Shadow of Death, I shall fear no evil, because my Diamond DA62 is up for the job. Possibly. But yeah, I don't think you would be flying if it was this dark. It's a Lugna, and I'm a bit concerned now. We'll start it off. Oh, to be fair, it's only sunset, isn't it? We can handle that. Still very good visual. I'll still be able to see the runway. I'll put some lights on there. I don't know what these do. What is it? Is that a Gasper? Or is that bright? Oh, it does that light there. So is there another one for these lights at the back? Probably at the back of it. Does our light go up and down? I don't know why I can't activate this panel, so that's a bit cack. But anyway. We've got some lights. That's all we care about. It's beautiful. So, what's the story, Morning Glory? Well, for this flight, I am really keeping my eye on the aircraft because I know what can happen at the end. So basically, when we come to Kimiti, which is the waypoint you can see on the right nav display with all the green splodges around it, them green splodges are moisture-filled clouds, and it is accurate. Now, my question is this: if basic aircraft like Diamond and Asbo could create a weather radar that's basic but works, why can't big developers like PEMDG? And other well-known developers, not just picking on them. But I've noticed every single aircraft I've flown with the Garmin in picks up the weather. Just saying. Maybe we can insert the weather radar side of that Garmin into as a optional view. At least we could see what we're flying into. Beautiful clouds. Red sky at night. Pilot's delight. Now it's going into the night time here at Nepal and the Himalayas, so that's good news going into Lucknow, isn't it? There is some weather for over there. It isn't a very long flight, but it's obviously slower because we're in a piston plane, prop driven plane I should say, and it's a direct turbo. But anyway, but we're only travelling at 175 knots ground speed, which, if you put that into perspective, if we was in, say, the Boeing 737 or the Airbus A320, at this altitude, we would be travelling in excess of 600 miles per hour, whereas at the minute, we're looking at probably getting 250 to 300 maximum miles per hour. So half of the speed of an airliner basically at this altitude. But that's what makes these aircraft very appealing, is their budget and they're friendly. And also it could carry 6. So one next to me. Obviously 3 across, 2 across and 1 in the back. But that's hardly ever used at the back. Now, if you want to see how accurate this landing is going to be, and I say is because I'm confident we are going to smash it today, okay, then you could also YouTube and Google real world landings into Luton cockpit views. Yeah, so we're okay. 144 knots is really good actually. I like that. We'll keep the airspeed up. We'll range that down out to 15. Just some scattered cloud. So, will we make it? Probably not. But we'll have fun trying. So, from Komitri it said on the information that I found, if you flew a bearing of 86 degrees for about 23 miles from there, that'll put you onto Fluffy. I hear you ask, what's Fluffy? Well, I'll tell you. Fluffy is what they nicknamed the Initial Approach Fix, the IAF, or India Alpha Foxtrot. It's basically a determined fixed known position of both distance, time, from where you're going to start your slow descent down into Lucknow. Now, you can't find that on Navigraph. There's no such thing as Fluffy on Navigraph until I created one, so you might be able to find it now. And I also created MAPT, which is the missed approach point. But anyway, let me continue on my briefing. So, if it works, please feel free to use it and let me know how you get on your flights. But yeah, this is bizarre because it's just a case of scribbling some notes down, and I can prove this to you. This is our approach scribbled pad into Lucknow, right? Let me show you something funny. Okay, are you getting ready for this? I can't remember. Oh, yeah. So this is a very. I'm gonna pimp it up. Hold on, let me just pimp it up. There is a stream that runs through. There we go. So all I've done is pimped up the stream. This is my approach plate. It's literally hand drawn map with nonsense scribble of what I've managed to figure out thus far. And thus far, let me just reiterate here, is once. So I've not just sat here and just continually flew into this airport, because that takes away what my streams are about. But I can't wait. I just want to land, I just want to land and be in one piece. I do not give a flying monkeys, right, how many feet per minute it is. I don't care. I don't give a flying frog's ass, right? And if I'm on the touchdown zone, all I care about is I land, A. B, I don't hit the wall at the end of Lucknow runway, where there has been crashes. And C, I could turn around in time or get off the taxiway in time to park the jet successfully. 3 objectives. Oh, it's the opposite way out there, isn't it? 3 objectives. Let's see if... Oh, look at this weather. I might have to cheat here. Right, this... This is dangerous, so we're just going to cheat. And I'm just going to brighten it up. Not loads, just a little bit. There we are. It's still the same HPA. I thought someone was burning. I remember my neighbours having a barbecue in the rain. If it wasn't against the law, I was supposed to film people without their permission, especially posting it on stuff like this. I would lean over the fence and show you them cooking under a gazebo. Lovely neighbours though, I've got to say. And I've noticed this tracker on fluctuates every time. So originally, when I did it the first time, it was 100 degrees. When I did it in Prepare 3D V5, when I've done this approach before and landed successfully, but in a different aircraft altogether, it was like 96 something. So there's a massive variance, isn't there? So relying on others' posts, I'm going to do an updated one for you with exact bearings, distances, and I'm going to post it. Take that, Navigraph. Okay. A moment of truth. Wow, that was bumpy. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the altitude I want, which is 9.1, because that's the airport elevation, and I'm going to hit VNAV. A V path comes in. There is a top of the descent mark there, so until I have a good visual landing on the runway, I won't take control of that aircraft, and if need be, if it's too bumpy or whatever as we're going in, I'm going to push it down anyway. We're not going to do a go around and all that cack in the mountains. We're going to push it down military style and get on that ground. After all, we are in a military plane. Makes us sound like the cowboys. That's not what I mean. What I mean is we could get the job done. Adapt and overcome. Top descent then is a little over 15 miles away. Looking at that. Gone back to the red sky at night. Pilot's delight. We've got a wind, 250 degree tailwind, slight right hitting us at 15 knots. So that's not a bad thing. We are nearly there. Our destiny awaits. As Utrecht of Bettyburg would say, destiny is all. Bum bum, and it's going dark again, but I'm sure the visibility will hold. I'm not changing the weather again, so let's make it more fun by keeping the weather as it is as well. Oh dear Lord, what are you doing? And I tell you what, anybody who's watching, and of course anybody out there, we should get together and stream us doing it at the same time, so you could stream together on Twitch. And I think it'd be cool if there's other flight simmers out there who fancy doing this flight. I'll give you the flight plan, obviously. We're going a bit fast now, so because we've got that tailwind. So I'm just going to ease back ever so slightly. And let's do a shared stream and see how many of us crash, how many of us survive out of, I don't know. Looking at how the screens display, maybe 2, 3 maximum. Any one stream. I think that'll be fun. Let me know what you think. The good thing as well, and this is a bonus of having a synthetic display, not just a HSI or an ADI, is you can actually see the runway through there. So if you can't see, because as you sit up, I mean, if you look at these types of aircraft, the seats are quite low, they're quite sloped as well, and you've just got your control stick, yeah? The synthetic display helps you to see where you're going. So in actual fact, if you're visual to that runway, you can see the runway through your SVT, your synthetic, or you can see it out to one side. Then you continue an approach, because that's legal and you can do that. If you can't see it through the SVT and you can see it outside the aircraft, that is also legal and you continue your approach. However, if we can't make it out clearly on the SVT at the decision point or out of the windows, then obviously it's an abort, and you have to rethink something, because you can't change the weather in real world. Just looking down the gully there, the sun's shining towards that direction, so if we hurry up, this, to be fair, is the fastest. When I last flew this, and you'll see on YouTube, I think I managed to keep around 120 knots, because I know nothing about the DA62. I know a lot about its little brother, but I know nothing about how this works. So I decided, I'll just look at the bands, go in the middle. You can't go wrong, like any aircraft, go in the middle of them, and that's what I've done. I've also got the Incredibles livery to this, which you will see, okay, when we take the Incredible stars to another one of our deadliest approaches. So we've got 12 in total, 12 deadly approaches. This is number 1, and out of the 12 I've categorized this as 12. You say it's very difficult. It is very difficult, but I haven't ranked them. I haven't ranked them at 1 being the world's most dangerous approach to 12. I'm going to do all 12, and then the one that I think is the world's deadliest, and the one that I know is the world's deadliest, we will fly it again. Let's see how many of you come on board for that. So looking at the valley coming up, we're going to be turning very soon into this. I was just looking at that. So basically, this is why you got to be dead accurate. We're turning down here, so down that gully, and I can see the airport over the left engine cowl, in line with the propellers, really, just past a ridge. So I can make it out. The aircraft is now going to turn onto that anyway. So to help us, we're going to turn the floods down. Let's go aircraft, and we're going to take that down to 5. Is that 5 or less? So the barrow stays at around this area. But what we are going to do is we're going to start, as we start descending, which should be now realistically, for a 3-degree glide, I'm going to reduce the power . But here's a trick. Now, I learnt this, and it wasn't, I watched, should I say, I learnt it. I watched a little trick with this, and what I could gather is, look at that, the speed's already dropped off now because I've reduced the power for a descent. I've got no load basically on the turbines, on the engine. So I basically just keep this above the white band in descent, which I'm trying to do. And then this aircraft, it has a flap stage up. It only has 2 flap settings, right? So it has takeoff flaps and then landing flaps. The maximum they can be extended is 119 knots. But we're only going to extend them if I could verify before we get to the missed approach point, which according to my groovy map is in 2.8 miles. If I can make out the airport. Now, yes, I have a visual on the map there. I have no visual yet of the runway out there. This is going to be tricky. Tricky. Dicky Disco. Turn it off the floods. Don't mind the map lights being on, but let's turn that down just a little bit. Just have a dim light in the back. Okay, correction. We can carry on with our approach. Just on the SVT there, the other side of the altitude tape, I can see the runway. And we're just at our missed approach point, and so I'm going to continue. And the aircraft is going to go to hug still the centre of the valley, if you like, because we don't want to click our wings. And now at 10,000 feet, put my lights on also. V-paths kick back in. At this point I'm going to set my course to intercept the runway, which I could definitely see out there. Okay, that's going to have to come off actually. That's better. Just let my eyes adjust, let your eyes adjust. Don't know if you can make it out there on the SVT, but this right, this is dangerous, so we're gonna have to put a little bit of light on the situation. There we go. The beauty of simulation. Okay, so I'm happy with the approach now, so I'm gonna go flaps 2, gear down. And that'll give us some natural drag anyway. Put my power up. As you can see, the runway in the distance there. Now let's take control of the aircraft. This is a steep descent. It's 9.2. Come on. Woohoo! We landed. That is awesome. We actually landed at Tinzeg Hillary Airport, and now we're probably stuck on a ramp. Let's get some boost. Okay, we're going. That's pretty cool. We'll fix that trim in a minute. Actually, let's do it now. So. No, we do need the power to get up this hill. This is what I'm saying. So the foot of that was at 9.1. The top of this, if you look, is now 9.4 on my altimeter. Let's not miss the turning. That was the wall I was talking about. Look at her. Oh great, look, they've just parked a massive sky. What? What is that about? I don't know what's going on with Microsoft Flight Simulator. That's hilarious. Okay, so we've landed. Happy day. Strobes could come off. Let's. Well, we're obviously going to put it into this parking spot, then, didn't we? The good thing about these parking spots is you go in the middle of them, so you can turn round. That's if you can access them for a start. So let's go into this one. Okay, so that is us. We made it. We actually made it. The base camp of the base camp of Everest. I can't believe we made it. Well, let's just take you to show you. Okay. So up there, right in the distance, the drone won't be able to go that far, but that is one of the summits of Everest. Just there. 29,000 feet. And this is a Lukla airport, so if you look at anything, it's only default scenery, but it's good enough. But I don't know why that Sky Chef lorry... Look, he's following me. What's he doing? What is he doing? What's he even doing here? You wouldn't have it. But anyway, so how significant was that approach, and why is it difficult and challenging? I made it look easy. No, I never. I know it's very difficult, and I nearly missed it, to be fair. Although we was over the runway, I could quite easily not. But look at that. That's the runway we landed on. Did you see that? How it slopes up, and then people have to take off this, which helps the slope down. So the significance of that is very important, because if we just go out here. So how we did this approach. So if you look, all around us is this sort of terrain, yeah? I just want to bring you out here because this was there, and it's getting harder now for the drone to fly. Just hover here. So this was the valley we had to come down to, and precisely drop our altitude to certain points. The V just up ahead that you can see there is where we had to make a decision whether we could execute the landing, which is there. And this null here, we try and use that there, I used because it's a reference to try and go into the airport, basically. But if it was to go missed approach, was to see we weren't going to make it, then I believe you just fly up this valley and come back after about 9 miles. But we're not going to go into that. Let's get some... It's a bit of a trek. See if you go behind the glide slope. Look, you can't even make out where the runway is, can you? I believe it's up here. Is that it? See how difficult that is in worsening conditions. So you definitely wouldn't be flying this at this level unlighted. I wouldn't assume. So yeah, as you can see by the elevation of the runway, I have to keep just touching the drone up to climb it. And you could hear my awesome roar. Oh good, the big lorry's gone. I don't know what that was about. Hello. Hello there. You wouldn't be working there like that. So here we are. That is it. We did it. We did from Kathmandu and Nepal over here to Alukla Airport. And we did it in style. I wish I didn't put the playback tool on because I thought I'm going to crash again. And I honestly thought that. So let's go in and shut the aircraft down anyway. Let's not do that. Let's go in and shut the aircraft down. Yep. So we're going to shut the aircraft down and then we'll have a bit more of a brief of what's coming up when we get out. So both of these can come off. Both fuel levers can go back. Wait a open that one, down it goes. Open that one, down it goes. So it's shut off. So the lights have just come on for look now. Can you believe that? And I was panicking and changing the weather. But I can tell you now, I wouldn't land here at night time or low lighting conditions. Unless it was life and death for someone. Engine masters could go off. Pitot heats come off. The normal anti-ice comes off. Basically I'm just going to put panel and flood up just a little bit. So taxi could come off. That could come off. And that is as bad done. The alternator now come off because we're not charging anything. The avionics master could come off. And the battery could come off. So that is us done and shut down. So now that is done. There you are, Tenzing Hidari Airport. Look there. Just to put that in perspective, look what it says on this side. I hope you can see that from where you are. Elevation 2,843 meters mean sea level. Would you be able to land on this runway at night time? I really don't know. It'd be interesting to find out though, wouldn't it? Wonder if there is any lighting up the runway for emergencies. There's only one way to see, isn't there? There's only one way to see if there is lighted sufficient enough to land an aircraft on the runway, is to go on it. I would say no unless you eat a lot of carrots. Looking at that, definitely, I can't see anything. I'm just going to go over the threshold, which I think is about there. Rotate the aircraft. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to come down to where the threshold is. So that is the touchdown zone there. So bear with me. There is a point to this madness. And I'm now going to come out. And see where I lose sight of this airport. Right. There. But look at, you've got no references coming, and you're not cleared the valley yet either. Yes, so we're not cleared the valley because... Well, let's go out, shall we? I'm just going to go straight out to the point where you'd turn in the aircraft anyway. The drones really doesn't like this altitude. That's okay. Yeah, you wouldn't be able to see that. So answers that question. No is the answer. You wouldn't be able to land safely at this type of light levels. If you had night vision goggles. Of course we could. Gotta get some speed on the drone. Just take it down a little bit at a time. Oh, that's the doggies playing. So see, I nearly hit the floor with the drone though. Avoided aircraft. Yeah. That's cool, isn't it? Like a little temple. So yeah. Well, like I said before, that is us done. We are here at the world's, well, one of the world's most deadliest airports at Lukla, and that is where we're going to leave this one. That is where we're going to leave this video using the DA62. Hope you enjoyed the stream. It's been a pleasure having you on board, and now it's time to relax, get my breath back. I might go into that Buddha Lodge there and have a few pints. That's what I'll do. Well, thanks for joining us, and thanks for watching the stream. Until next time, see you later.